doing my talk on GLP Interaction 1. So I had a switch up. I met with a different partner for this because my original partner stopped texting me back. So I met with a girl. Her name is Amal. She's a sophomore at MSU, and she lived in Botswana, South Africa, and this was her coming to college here. Was the first time that she had been in the United States. So it was really interesting to talk to her about her educational experiences, just because they were in some aspects so different, but in some also pretty similar. It was just really interesting to meet with her and talk to her about this stuff, and we shared photos, and she showed me photos of her uniform that she wore, and it was just, her classes were just a lot, and her class size was just a lot smaller too, which was very interesting. So she said that one of the main differences I noticed was that she went to school from 7 to 1, and then she had an hour and like 20 minutes for her lunch break, which was very long considering we only had like 30 minutes for our lunch break, and we went to school from 7:30 to 2:30 every day, so a few hours longer there, less break. So it seems like here maybe our education system was a little bit more strict. But also just the uniform differences, which she didn't really specify if it was a private or public school, but I'm assuming it was just public, and that's what everybody had to do. And I went to a public high school, so we didn't have to wear uniforms. And she said that for her in high school, a lot of times she would break the rules by wearing colorful socks and trying to express her personality, which I thought was really cool and cute, and a different aspect for me, just because, I was able to express my personality through my clothes every day, and not have to worry about rules, really, at least not that strict of rules. She said for her, what was very important was reading and books. She loved books, and her friends, and she really loved her lunch break. That was an hour and 20 minutes because she was able to kind of talk to her friends in that time. Also, she said that they didn't really have a very high precedent on sports there, which was very different from my high school educational experience, because sports was one of my top priorities. Only second to my education and my schooling. And also another priority for me was high school dances. We had at least 2 high school dances every year, and then our junior and senior year we had prom, so we would have 3 that year. Versus her, she said they just had 1 dance, which was prom, their senior year. And basically, and it seems stupid now, but when I was in high school, it was like basically I don't know, high school dances were so important, and for her, dances really didn't matter at all. So it was just really interesting to see that different cultural aspect of it, because we do place such a high importance here on, like, what dress you're going to wear and what group you're going to go with, and things like that. But for her, it was really more about the schooling. And also she said that most people don't necessarily go to college. You have to pass, what she said was that you have to pass a test to even go to high school from middle school, which I also thought was very interesting. And then she said, not that many people study abroad either. She said because you need a lot of government help, they do there. So basically you have to be really smart, like the top of your class, to be able to come and study abroad and go to a school here in the United States. So that was just very interesting to hear about. Let's see. And she also said that when I asked her about, like, if she would have to study hard or if she was really stressed and all that stuff, and she said she never felt like she had to study very hard. It just came naturally. And she said she would just, like, for studying for exams and stuff, she would just have to kind of look over and review materials, the night before, and that was it. And she said she was always the top of her class, so she's not sure really if she was just really, really smart, or if, the education standards just weren't exactly as strict as they are in some other places. So that was interesting, which personally I feel the same way. I felt the same way about my high school experiences. I really didn't have to try that hard, and I was in AP, which is like advanced classes, college prep classes too. So I did have to try harder in those, but the normal, like my level classes, I didn't. So in that sense, I definitely felt that culturally, her and I were on the same wavelength in that sense, definitely. Yeah, so it was just really interesting to hear about her side of things. I've never really met with anybody from South Africa, or really Africa in general, so it was really interesting to see. Yeah, there are some differences in our cultural education systems, but for the most part, I feel like we were pretty similar, which was really cool to see. It was really cool to kind of just see. It's not that big of a world, really. We all want the same goals, and we all want to be able to succeed in life, and that's really the most important thing. So, yeah.